Alrighty, in one of our last videos, we compared the value of low intensity training, compared it to high intensity training for fat loss. We talked about the different levels of intensity to get you in those different zones to use fat for fuel source versus carbohydrates for fuel source. How do we find out where your heart rate should be for those different type of trainings? One, watches are a great way to measure it, to keep track of it, and a lot of the times they can guide you. But how are they guiding you? Where are they getting these numbers? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you're looking for your heart rate max, your 100% intensity heart rate, generally speaking, we're going to take 220 minus your age to equal your heart rate max. So if you are 20 years old, 220 minus 20 would equal 200. If you are 70 years old, you're going to take 220 minus 70 to equal 150. Okay, so we're getting your heart rate max as 100% of your intensity. The percentage of intensity, the way we are going to find that number is taking your heart rate max and subtracting your resting heart rate. So if your heart rate max is, let's just say 190 for a 30-year-old, 190 is your heart rate max subtracted by your resting heart rate. Average, I would say about 50 to 60 beats per minute is going to be your resting heart rate. The healthier you are, the lower it tends to be. So we're going to figure out your heart rate max versus this formula and subtract your resting heart rate. This is what you get on your own. Let's just use 50 as a good number for today. So if you take 220 for a 30-year-old, you subtract 30, you're going to get 190. That would be a 30-year-old's heart rate max. You're going to take 130 minus your resting heart rate. I use 50 for this one to get the number of 140. So I have 140 beats per minute to play with, if you will. So I'm going to take 140. If I want to get a percentage of that, let's say I'm wanting to push at 75%. You can plug that in with 50%, 60%, whatever the percentage is. 75% of the 140 that we got here a second ago is 105. Okay, so 75% of 140 is 105. You're going to add that to your resting heart rate. So that's the range that we want to play with for that 75%. You're going to take that number, add it to your resting heart rate. If I'm at 75% intensity, I have this many beats per minute over my resting heart rate. So that number plus your resting heart rate equals a new number. That new number is the percentage. 75% is what we decided we were going to use to figure out that intensity. You can play with these with a whole bunch of different numbers. Let's say we want to do 50% of your heart rate max. Let's even make it for a 70-year-old, okay? 70-year-old. So you're 70 years old. That means your heart rate max is going to be 150. 220 minus 70 is going to be 150. That's for a 70-year-old, your heart rate max is getting up to 150. So I'm going to plug that number, 50. We'll say the resting heart rate is still right there at about 50 beats per minute, just a good guess. So that means you have 100 beats per minute to play with, to get above your actual heart rate. All right, so you have 100. So if I want to push 50% of 100, 50% of 100, that's going to be 50. That's an easy math equation to find. So 50 beats above your resting heart rate. Your resting heart rate is 50. Your intensity level is at 50%, so that's 50 beats above your resting heart rate. 100 beats per minute would put you at 50% intensity, getting you at 100 beats per minute. Hopefully this equation makes sense. Hopefully it is useful to you. If you are trying to burn more fat, yes, you can do low intensity workouts to put you in that fat burning zone, about that 65 to 85% intensity. But if you are wanting to practice HIIT training and get your heart rate even higher, you're going to want to shoot for that 86 to 100% intensity. You just plug in those numbers with your age and your resting heart rate to find the goal heart rate. If you're wanting to burn fat, let's get detailed. Let's dial in on the specifics to pair it up with the science to get you the most out of your hard work. We'll see you soon.